If you're like me, on your C8 Corvette, you do not want your front grills damaged. This is something that could, somewhere down the road, cause your transmission to overheat. So I researched various grill guard vendors and come up with the best ones like Paragon and Scrape Armor. So I wanted to go a step further. After installing grill guards, what is that ultimate hot temperature value that you do not want to reach after installing grill guards? I researched at least 14 sources to find out. Hey, hello, how are you? Hope all of you wonderful Corvette people out there are having a fantastic day. I am Burke. Of course, you're watching Road Odyssey. Please subscribe. I would really thank you very much for that. And this is kind of part two in the consideration of putting grill guards on the front radiators or condensers of your C8 Corvette. Now, I'm making this video because I'm wanting to put front grill guards on my C8. So I wanted to do more research pertaining to the actual operating temperatures of the C8's DCT. I wanted to know the exact temperature or the temperature range that the C8 transmission uses to determine if you're beginning to overheat that DCT. Now, by knowing this one little piece of information, to me, that helps aid in knowing if adding the grill guards would be very more likely to cause the DCT to overheat, just by simply pushing the DCT that little bit closer to those overheating temperature ranges. So that's what I'm curious about. I did a lot of research. I have so far gone over at least 14 different sources, and let me read those off. Here we go. GM C8 Corvette Owner's Manual, the GM Service Bulletins, the GM C8 Concierge Department, the GM Customer Assistance Department, a North Dallas highly regarded Chevrolet dealership, Corvette Racing and Modification Shops, that's 21st Century Muscle Cars and LG Motorsports, Tremec Documents, the people that made the DCT, SAE Documents and Bulletins, NHTSA Service Bulletins, DCT Oil Safety Data Sheets, SDSs, and documents, and some other DCT oils. I looked at them as well since they're fairly similar. News and information articles, mechanic websites, Corvette forums, and finally, generalized charts from the internet that I found that just simply say, boom, here's what you're looking for. So my research summary told me that all the research has provided only the already generally accepted rule of thumb incipient, the beginning hot temperature range at which a DCT such as the C8s will be. And that value is approximately 200 degrees Fahrenheit, maybe a little bit higher, like 225. So the DCT on the C8 should stay below 200 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's what I have found out so far. So when you're, considering adding those front grill covers and possibly tracking, aggressive driving, extensive driving, any of those types of things that can really heat up that DCT, keep an eye on the transmission temperature and be ready to take a break if you see your DCT climbing up, well, maybe even past 185, somewhere around 190. So for sure around 200. In this video, for my story, I'm looking at this information and I'd gone out on a long drive, 8 hours, and I was really pushing the car. I was being aggressive, and I overheated the transmission for about 5 seconds. So that is part of what has instigated me looking into this to learn more about the DCT and combining that story with adding the front grill guards. I just want to be cautious and be a smart consumer. So let me drag you along further into this and just show you, my research information and what I've learned. And maybe this will help you out to finalize, not just for me, but for all of y'all who are curious about adding these front grill guards. So let's get into it. As I said in my previous video about the grill guards, I want to add them so that the condensers don't get damaged, blocking air flowing through the radiators, which could result in the DCT overheating. If you're on the fence about getting grill guards, well, you can sit, do nothing, and just see what happens for now. Now, you can also go ahead and have that transmission fluid tile on your dash and be watching that. Be ready. So GM says you don't need the grill guards if you're going racing, aggressive driving, and in hot weather. You can install them for regular use, tame driving, and the weather is okay. I was saying that here's some ground rules if you want to add the grill guards. Get your baseline temperatures under your driving conditions of your DCT fluid. Install the guards and then verify the temperatures. Compare your new temperatures to your baseline. See if they've changed. Also, repeat step 3 if the weather is hotter or if anything is changed. Next up is grill guard vendors and install tips. The very, very best vendor is supposedly Scrape Guard that I've got near the bottom. They are GM approved. They're OEM fitment. I mean, the fitment should be perfect, dead on. And they will allow a lot more airflow than any other brand. Scrape Guard is also used by Ron Fellows Performance Driving School. So these are track tested and very good for your car, although they are the most expensive at about $400. Second up, for the two top best, Paragon Performance, very high quality as well. You might have to bend it a little bit and play with these and get them to fit just right. Even though they say they're OEM fitment, you might have to tweak them. They come in just under $300. There are several vendors that just produce or sell the wire mesh, and these are apparently pretty decent. I do not know the reality of them, but for many people, these would be perfectly fine. But if you're going to be aggressive in hot conditions, anything like that, you really might want to sink your money into higher quality front grill guards. Installation tips. Well, the very first thing I found out was if they tell you it takes 30 minutes, it might. If you're prepared or experienced with working on cars, it might. But that 30 minutes may actually be about an hour. Now, very important, the fins on the condensers are extremely delicate. One Corvette forum described them as being like tinfoil. Another very good tip is you might try to squeeze in very delicately some cardboard in front of the condensers, so while you are installing either the wire mesh or these other grill guards, you do not knock your hand up against those condenser fins. Now, you've probably seen out on the forums where people have gotten the little dental tools or something like that, maybe a really small flathead screwdriver, where they can fix the fins of the condenser. So there's an idea there as well. If you buy plastic grill guards, look for spurs, little spikes on the back of the grill guards, and be sure and trim those off. If your grill guards require zip ties, buy or get a hold of a few large zip ties that you can really manhandle and use those to get the grill guard mesh on initially and kind of loosely, and then you can use the smaller zip ties that are hard to see, get those applied and looking nice, and then you can get rid of the bigger zip ties that you use to kind of hold everything in place initially. And as I alluded to earlier, the Paragon performance grill guards, they may need some bending and dry test fitment first. So play with those, look at them before you think you're just going to haul off and install them first time. Both Paragon and most likely Scrape Armor as well takes a little bit more time and patience than anything else, so just keep that in mind. One company that I left off the list by accident is C8 Vet Parts. They have the grill guards as well. Still fairly expensive, like $350, but they basically tape in. They have little glue pads, and you kind of get these in place. They fit very, very well. And to me, these are going to be the #1 easiest grill guards to install ever. But they are glue padded in on the front face of the existing grills. I would really like to know when the C8 thinks that the DCT is overheating. So after installing the grill guards, knowing this temperature, I can better predict if whether or not the grill guards are going to contribute to the C8 overheating. In this GM service bulletin, relative to things like the adaptive learning procedure and work on the transmission, it shows a high temperature of 203 Fahrenheit as being within the optimal range for that transmission fluid. Now, when I asked some of the muscle car shops, 21st Century Muscle Cars replied back to me saying that they would hope that the temperature would not exceed 200 degrees. So researching Tremec, the people that made the DCT, I went through PDFs and all kinds of stuff, and finally, under some questions and answers, that kind of jazz, I found this one item that said the fluid should not exceed 250 degrees Fahrenheit, otherwise you need to change it. Here are 3 charts that I found that also kind of give this basic information that the max temperature is somewhere between 200 and 225. Really, the ceiling is probably actually 225 to 250. Although the max limit for the DCT fluid temperature is between probably 220 and 250, you probably want to do like what 21st Century Muscle Cars said, which was not let it exceed probably about 200. In summary, you do not want front grill guards to increase the temperature of your DCT fluid. So if you do install them, now you know you can watch that tile, see what your temperatures are running, and watch out for that 200 to 220 degrees so that you know to protect yourself ahead of time without the car going into overheat mode and scaring you to death. So there you go. Well, thank you very much for watching this video. I really do appreciate you getting all the way through this thing. Hey, that was great. Please subscribe. I would very much appreciate that. It kind of lights a fire under me to, keep going, doing this sort of research and not just accepting one person's video over another, one article over another, whatever. To me, I really want to learn and do good quality information for y'all. So give me that thumbs up, subscribe, and have fun. Take it easy, and I will see you later. Bye.